So welcome everyone, and we will start sitting. We'll start with a seated practice as always, some time to settle in, reflection, meditation, and some pranayama. So please take a comfortable seat that you know you can be at ease in for sitting. My recommendation is that you sit with a bit of what I'm going to call a tripod base. So it's got 3 established points. For those of you who can't sit cross-legged on the floor, maybe you have like knee replacement or something like that, of course you can sit on a block or 2 in Vajrasana. It's also understandable if you have to sit in a chair to start your class, to start your practice. Yesterday in class, I was talking about the 3 gunas, and I want to further that conversation for us today. So for those of you who weren't here yesterday, you could see that class either as on our YouTube or on the Facebook Live that I think I was broadcasting, if I remember to do it. And also today, you can just jump into the conversation where we're starting from this morning. So please take a comfortable seat. You can rest your hands where they're most at ease for you. You're welcome to close your eyes and open your heart. And welcome the breath. And set aside that which is not going to be relevant for your practice. Imagine yourself arriving, all of the pixels of you being repopulated, like when Scotty beamed them back up to the Star Trek Enterprise. You can again practice sort of closing the eyes is symbolic of also bringing your senses within. So closing the eyes, opening the heart, welcoming the breath, setting aside that which is not relevant to your practice. And then you can begin to gently but actively increase the length of the inhale and the length of your exhale. Breathing in and out through the nose. When you're lengthening the breath, do so without striving or grasping or clinging. Those, by the way, are the qualities of rajas, the rajasic mind. When you practice something that's familiar, like deepening the breath in the beginning of your session, try to do so without a sense of dullness or lethargy or boredom. We don't become robotic. Those are the mental qualities of tamas, where the mind becomes apathetic or listless or dull. So let the breath, the experience of inhale and exhale, which is only happening in the present, is always only happening in the present. And it brings you to the present moment. Let it be an experience of fresh attention, a quality of presence. even a felt sense of witnessing that this is happening. These qualities are more like the sattvic mind. And you can gently bring your hands together at your heart. So the guna called sattva is the balancing guna. It's the most harmonious of the gunas. And all three gunas are always ever present. They're called strands in English, like the strands or the expressions of nature, like strands of DNA. Tamas, rajas, sattva, always present. The question we ask is which guna is dominant? Which one is kind of in charge? So when we take the two palms and we put them together, let's imagine that we're bringing tamas and rajas to the center to support the experience of sattva. So in this case, tamas, instead of being dull or listless or apathetic, tamas is the structure. It is taking your seat. Tamas is the stability of returning to your practice again and again. Rajas is the motivation, the energy. Rather than clinging and grasping, it is expressed as dedication and commitment. And then those two, like your right hand and your left hand, together they support sattva. So we'll chant asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityoma amritam gamaya. Let's begin. Om asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And then interlace your fingers, press the heels of the hands straight down. We're going to begin with some pranayama that you've been doing. So on this inhale, as you raise the arms forward and up, remember you're going to inhale first, middle and upper thirds of the breath. And then exhale, gaze down as you keep pressing up. And inhale to reach up, including lifting your gaze. This time, exhale, gaze down and squeeze your hands down behind your head so the pinkies are at the base of the skull. And then inhale, sweep your elbows forward and up. And exhale, press the heels of the hands straight up towards the sky, gaze down. Inhale to go up. And this time, exhale, press your hands out and wide and down. Take your hands out over your knees. Deeply relax. That being a familiar practice has an element of stabilizing you to be here. That's tamas. It being a moving upward practice raises the rajas guna. And you approaching it with a quality of fresh attention increases the sattva guna, which is the one that we want to lead our practice. Now we're going to add to the sequence. So interlace your fingers, take the heels of the hands down. Breathing in, lower, middle, upper, slowly. Keeping your hands up, exhale, gaze down. Lift through the back hemisphere of your body. Inhale to go up. Now exhale, level your head and side bend to your left. Inhale, rise up to center. Exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring the heels of the hands down, pinkies at the base of the skull, gaze down. Inhale, both elbows forward and up. Exhale, level your head and rotate to your right. Bring the left elbow forward, right elbow up. And then inhale, side bend to your right. Lower the left arm down. Side bend to your left, excuse me. Exhale, back up to your twist. Inhale to center, elbows wide. Exhale, right elbow forward, left elbow up. Inhale, side bend to your right, lower the right arm down. Exhale, rise up, twisting to your left. Inhale to center, elbows wide, gaze down. And then exhale, press up and look up. Inhale, reach out. And exhale, return your hands to your knees. So those practices now, in contrast to the next one, it's going to be rajasic. And I said this yesterday also. We're going to use rajas to meet rajas. So if any part of you came to class like restless, or I got to get a lot done today, or feeling like the overwhelmed part of your mind or brain, we're going to use rajas to meet rajas, to dissipate that rajas, and to bring us back to sattva. So place your hands on your shoulders. This is a rapid exhale, left to right, breathing out through the nose. Let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now come to center, and as you inhale, raise the arms up, lower, middle, upper, look up. And then exhale, hands down to the heart, passing the heart, hands down over your knees. Just sit really quietly, noticing that which is getting dissipated, and then that which is intrinsic to you, sometimes hidden by that which needs to get dissipated. Let's repeat that. Place your hands on your shoulders. We'll begin here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come to center. Interlace your fingers. This time inhale to go up and look up. And exhale, palms down in front of the heart. And then out over your knees. You can sit in your Buddha self, the part of you that isn't lost in thought like rajas, the part of you that isn't dull like tamas. So we use rajas sometimes to meet rajas, to dissipate rajas, so that that intrinsic sattvic nature gets to come through again. So now we'll do a practice that we're going to do from kneeling. So I'm going to ask you to shift over to kneeling in Vajrasana. And for some of you, that's going to mean, for example, taking a blanket between your ankles and your hips, something like this. You can sit if you want to. For others, you'll kneel directly on the floor because that's comfortable to you. If you're currently kneeling on a couple of blocks, when you see this forward bend that we're going to be doing, you're not going to be able to do that from kneeling up high because you'll fall on your head. So in that case, what I would recommend is that if you are kneeling on a couple of blocks, that you instead sit in one chair with a second chair in front of you and a block for the head. For everyone, we will put the fists in the low belly and our exhale breath is going to come down like this. And then we'll be inhaling to come back up. So this is, we had Rajas practice. Now this practice is quieting, takes us inward and downward. So it increases our tamas, our mental stability. It won't increase your mental stability if you approach it with a rajasic, grasping, clinging mind. And so the practice looks like this. This is the inhale while you're upright or while you're returning to upright. This is the exhale when you're coming down. You'll have squeezed the exhale out pretty thoroughly. For a few moments, you're going to relax without inhaling. And then we'll be inhaling to come back up. Okay, so when I said for a few moments, you're going to relax without inhaling, I was being literal. You're going to exhale, squeeze the breath out with your head supported, relax the exhale muscles, relax the mind without inhaling. And there'll be an internal suction that happens. And then you'll inhale to come back up to kneeling. Oh, cat on the computer, just a moment. No. You can't stand there. No. You can't just keep typing the same letter for the whole class. Like a million Z's? No. Okay, so let's do it together on the first round. Please inhale through the nose while you're sitting upright. And then exhale, bow forward. Allow the fists to go into the belly to support a complete exhalation. Once you squeeze the exhale out, radically relax the exhale muscles without inhaling. Notice the inner suction. Then tone the low belly and begin to inhale to bring yourself back up to kneeling all the way. Relax a moment right here. I'd like you to do this twice more at your own pace, beginning with your inhale while you're upright. The exhale is to squeeze the breath out. That is why we're bending forward. That is why your fists are in the low belly. You do tone the belly before you inhale to come up so that you're not gasping for the breath. You'll finish your next round at your own timing, and then we'll meet up together again. When you complete the third one, and simply rest one hand on the lap of the other. Keep the eyes closed, inward and downward. And see if you might have access to that sattvic quality, that which is harmonious, lucid, clear. And then while we're here, we're going to do one portion of an asana that we'll do standing, but I want to illustrate for you the value of having spinal flexion with twisting. So I'm going to ask you to put 2 blocks to the right side of your mat. Come down with your left forearm across the mat like this. Take your right hand to the block. So I want you to keep your pelvis stable, lower body stable, and start adding a twist to your right. Press down through your left elbow. And see if your right hip can maintain the same grounding as your left hip. As you're twisting to your right, you might choose to raise the block under your right hand a little higher based on your body proportions and your flexibility. Like the length of your upper arm, the left one, your capacity for spinal rotation. And then coming back down, place the right forearm on the mat and put the blocks on the other side. And explore your twist to the left. And again, keep the left sitting bone now grounded as you rotate your chest and heart to your left. We're looking for the rotation to be here in your thoracic spine. But yes, in the low belly, there is rotation, but the pelvic bones are stable. So the ilium bones, your sacrum, even the lumbar spine is not really a big source of twisting, but you can imagine that the inner organs and the inner belly get to twist. So keeping your left sitting bone grounded on your left heel, return both forearms to the mat. Then place your hands, let's use table pose to transition into downward facing dog pose. And as you reach back to dog pose, stretch your hips high and root down from your heart into both hands. Press back with the tops of both thighs, energize your leg muscles. Whether your heels reach the ground or not, it's more important that you take the top of the thighs back, the outer hips and inner thighs back. Let the whole spine be long, and the breath, we want to orient the inhale and the exhale to both begin in the pelvis. Now walk your feet forward to the top of your yoga mat and come into the pose called Uttanasana. Now, important to know that when looking at the gunas, each of the poses, when we describe its nature, some have more tamasic, more rajasic, or more sattvic nature. But that's also in relationship to where you're coming from in a yoga pose. Like Uttanasana, this would be considered rajasic relative to Savasana. But it's tamasic, it's downward and inward relative to something like warrior two or handstands. Let's take a deep breath in and then place your hands on your hips and rise up to standing. Oh, the cat's on the computer again. Let's see, she's looking at you all. You can do your cat poses. I'm going to get her down before we do sun salutation. Hi, honey. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. I know. It'd be so fun to watch them up close, to check on their yoga practices. Yeah. You could give them some instruction about flexibility, patience. Oh. Okay. Okay, so mountain pose. This will be considered a more sattvic pose because it's not really active and it's not really passive. So palms together at the heart. Let's come to the Ujjayi breath now, please. Breathe in. As you raise your arms, you're raising rajas. Exhale, bend your knees. It's a heating pose, so it has some rajas to it. But it's also a grounding pose, and the hips go back and down. So there's an element of tamas, seeking stability. Okay, Ujjayi, inhale, rise up. Press down to rise up. Exhale, bow forward. So this is downward and inward, more tamasic, more stabilizing. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Lengthen the sides of your waist. Exhale, left toes back. Press into your right heel. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Now keeping the right hip stable, exhale to airplane pose. We're going to do this several times. So we squeeze the breath out there and then inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. And then exhale, come forward and squeeze the breath out. Keep your left leg really stable behind you. Inhale, rise up. And once more, exhale to airplane pose. Then touch the blocks and inhale, step backwards, downward facing dog. So now downward dog will seem more inward and downward than the crescent lunge, but relative to child's pose, it's more active. Inhale, glide forward to plank pose, gaze down between your thumbs. Exhale, step over the top of one foot and then point the toes of the other foot. This is the structure of seal pose. Inhale to go up. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, left foot forward, press into your heel and your toes. Inhale, rise to your crescent. Exhale, airplane. You're squeezing the breath out like closing a bellows or the harmonium. Inhale to rise, crescent. We're doing this about 4 times, so at your own breath pace. And smoothly connect the breath, the movements of your body, and in doing so, limit the movements of your mind. Last one, please. And here comes airplane pose. You're going to hover over the left leg as you exhale, then touch the 2 blocks and inhale, step forward, heart forward. Exhale, deeply bow to the legs. Inhale, rise up, synchronizing the length of your movement to the length of your breath. Exhale, hands to your heart. You come back home. So that sun salutation is a combination of tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic practices. The pace that you move will determine whether Surya Namaskar is more tamas, rajas, or sattva. Also the quality of the mind. So now we're going to do one on purpose for a little bit more rajas. That means it's got a little quicker pace. And the inhale is going to be like this. And then the exhale. So you're going to be pushing the breath through the nose, pulling it in, pressing it out. Okay. This we'll do briskly, and then we'll stand still and see what the outcome is. Okay. So hands down by the sides. Let's go. Inhale up, down, up, forward and down, forward, left foot back, rising up, airplane, up, airplane, up, airplane, last one, up, airplane, downward dog, exhale, inhale plank, seal, up, plank, downward dog, left foot forward, up, airplane, up, twice more, once more, stepping forward, downward, up, to the heart, mountain. Stand really still. And see if you can sense the plumb line of stillness around which your body's having an echo from that practice. And then palms to the heart. Longer, slower, smoother. Okay, Ujjayi. Inhale. Be methodical. Lower belly, mid-torso, heart. Lift your gaze. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, glide upwards. You might notice an increased length to the breath. You might notice an increased comfort level with the exhale based on having had the Rajas practice. For some of you, you're going to have a deeper breath cycle now. And glide the heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Left toes back. Inhale, gliding deliberately, lower belly breath, mid-torso breath, upper chest and heart breath. Exhale, no sense of urgency as you come to airplane pose. Inhale, pelvic floor, low belly, mid-torso, heart, collarbones. Exhale, pelvic floor, deep low belly, mid-belly, upper belly, chest. Inhale to glide up. And again, exhale, pace the movement to go with the length of your breath. We're just coming to airplane pose. Inhale backwards, downward dog. Exhale in, downward dog pose. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Exhale, point the toes and come to the structure of seal pose. And then inhale, low belly, mid-torso, heart, collarbones. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. And exhale, left foot forward. Inhale, gliding up. Be deliberate with the breath. And also deliberate with synchronizing. The forward bend here into airplane pose is to help squeeze the breath out. Raising the arms up is to help lift the breath into the upper chest. Exhale from the pelvic floor to the deep belly, mid-belly, upper belly, chest. Inhale, pelvic floor, pelvis, mid-torso, heart, collarbones. Lightly touch the blocks and inhale to step forward, heart forward. And then exhale, deeply bow towards the legs, with no sense of rushing. Inhale, rise. And then hands to the heart. Let's take the feet as wide as the yoga mat that is left to right. Now the cat is, my computer is propped up by some yoga blocks, and now she's sleeping under the computer. I think what happens is that the computer, the keyboard thing is warm. So she's trying to get on it, to sit on it. Now she's under it. I'm getting a little, like a tanning bed effect. Okay, bend your knees. And let's place the two blocks. So what I'm going to recommend is that you stack them if you need them to be taller. I'm not a very tall person, so for me, this is a too high stack. So So you do it based on yourself. And I would like you to bend the knees so the hips are down, possibly at the height of the knees. Take your left forearm across the two blocks. Hopefully they're stable enough for you. Take the right hand to your right knee and please twist your upper back to your right. Remember when you were in child's pose and I recommended that you keep a specific sitting bone grounded? It's the right sitting bone in this case. Because when you twist your chest to the right, there's going to be a temptation to wiggle the hips about to compromise or to compensate. So twist through the upper back to your right, keeping the right sitting bone heavy. Now, based on where you can reach to, slide your left hand down to the outside of your right shin or ankle. And as you further twist the upper back to your right, let the left shoulder glide down towards the left arm towards your wrist and hand around your right ankle or your right shin. And breathe in. Return to your wide seated chair pose here. Place your hands on your knees and push down to rise up to standing. And pause to see what happens, how energy gets recalibrated. And then bend your knees. Come down. So when we bend the knees this deeply, we are causing compression temporarily on the femoral artery. Place your left hand up on your left knee. Twist to your left. Keep the left sitting bone heavy. So don't be concerned how far can you twist in such a way as you start compensating with the hips and pelvis. Consider more importantly how you twist, not how far you go. The focus on how far we can get is like rajas grasping. The energy of rajas is motivation and mobilization, but out of balance, it becomes like, I often say, like the Tasmanian devil. So keeping the twist to your left, reach the right hand down to hold the outside of your left shin or your left ankle. And breathe in to the right hemisphere of the torso. And then exhale, place both hands on your knees. Press down against your knees, root your shins and your heels, rise up to stand. Notice your body recalibrating heat, circulation, prana, the vitality of your body. And then take a little bit wider stance. So like Prasarita Padottanasana. And so what you can do is put your feet to be one leg distance apart for you. So these poses, because they're going downward and inward, and we have this experience in the belly, they're helping to increase the guna of tamas, that which is grounded. However, that's relative to the frenzy of life, more grounded. But at the same time, when you release the pose, there's a recalibration, and tamas takes us to sattva. All that being said, the effort required in the pose means that these poses are more rajasic than shavasana. So come over to your forward bend, put the two blocks to the right side of your mat. With an exhale, bow down towards the legs, whatever the amount is for you and your flexibility. Then inhale, glide your heart forward like we do in the sun salutation. Lengthen the spine, reach through the crown of your skull. And exhale, bow your torso slowly at the pace of your body's exhalation. Then inhale, glide forward again. And this time, when you glide forward, gaze down between both hands and place your left palm firmly there. Take your right hand over to your blocks. Stack them high if you need to. Press down against the block to help you rotate your chest to the right. Press down through your left arm to also support the rotation of your heart and your chest to the right. So having the 2 feet and your 2 hands grounded, the pose is more helpful to remind us of tamas, the element of grounding and stability. Now in a moment, you'll have the choice to raise your right arm up or to keep it on the block. And I'd like you to observe when you choose, what is the outcome of the choice? For example, when you raise the right arm, does that feel like striving or optimism? Is the lift of the right arm more sattvic, more rajasic? Does it cause distraction? Does it help you feel more expansive? Rajas, it would be distraction. Sattva would be expansion. Or is it more ideal for you to keep your hand on the block? Does that quiet the mind? And when you next exhale, go ahead and come down to your forward bend. Then inhale, glide the torso forward where you see your 2 hands on the mat. Place your right palm between them. Scoot your blocks over. Okay, let's add the twist to the left. So during the practice, if you keep asking yourself, sort of what quality of mind am I coming to the pose with? And what quality of mind am I generating? Then you're having a relationship with the gunas, rather than a relationship with the kind of photo finish or magazine moment in your yoga pose. So ask yourself from within now, would you like to raise the left arm or keep the left hand grounded? If you choose to raise your arm, what is the outcome of the choice? What is the influence on the mind? If your mind becomes more rajasic, more distracted, you may want to place your hand back on the blocks. Or you could keep your arm raised, but make a little less effort with the arm that's up, a little more grounding with the arm that's down. And when you next exhale, go ahead and release to fold forward. And then place your hands for one more downward dog pose. Please step your feet back, your hands forward. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And in your downward dog pose, just check and see now. It's kind of a tri-guna pose. All 3 gunas can be balanced here. Notice what your experience is. You're coming to it from a more rajasic pose or the temptation for more rajas. That being said, downward dog is more rajasic than shavasana. It has more rajas than a reclined twisting pose, for example. And please touch your knees down. Reach for a blanket. Pad the knees. We'll sit still for a moment. Then we're going to be exploring Anjanae Asana and Parvrtta Anjanae Asana. Okay, let's put the blocks out in front on the tall setting and step your right foot forward. I'm just going to back up because I'm stepping into a light beam and I don't want to have to wear my sunglasses to teach the yoga class. They're very dark sunglasses and they're really kind of hip and cool looking, but it would be hard to see you and you can't see my eyes. Okay, so when we come forward to this Anjanae Asana, I do want the blocks to be tall because I want us to be able to press down to go up. And in Anjanae Asana, the left knee can be back behind your left hip. So it's not directly under the hip. The pelvis does come forward. In fact, I don't think you can see my full foot here, but in a lot of photographs of Anjanae Asana, particularly done when the body type doing it is an Indian body type, the joints are pretty flexible. A lot of poses in Anjanae Asana photographed, the heel is on the floor, but the knee is able to be well forward of the toes because of the flexibility of the ankle. So it's really a deep movement of the hips forward. However, with your body structure, as with everybody honoring their own body structure, I'm going to recommend that your knee doesn't go past the toes. So you feel the heel is still grounded and you're not collapsing into your right hip joint. Do let the knee come forward, but now press into all 8 fingers and both thumbs and lift up through your torso. Lift up through your heart. Roll the shoulders back. Hug your shoulder blades into the back of your heart. Raise your gaze. Keep the hands pressing down as you lift the inner belly up. And then bring your chin towards your throat. Take the 2 blocks and make them medium. Raise your left leg, raise your hips, and bow over your right leg. Now this is a more inward downward pose, so it's more tamasic. This is called Uttanasana. Now we're going to glide back to Anjanae Asana. Touch the left knee down. This time put both blocks on the inside of your right ankle. And bring the left forearm down. Let's hold the left hand on the right shin, right hand on the right knee, please. And twist to your right. And think about swishing the lower belly across your right thigh. And breathe in. And as you exhale, rise up to where we began and step your right knee back. And then come down to kneeling with your knees on the blanket. So your hips are going to be a little lower than your knees. And let yourself sit really still. Sense the recalibration that's happening. So the back bend in Anjanae Asana is Rajas. This morning it's Rajasic, it's motivating, it's inspiring. The forward bend is more Tamas than Rajas. And the twist is for integrating and balancing. Let's do the other side. So make the blocks tall. Step your left foot forward. Place the right knee back behind you. Go ahead and be on the fingertips. Yeah. And yeah, so your knee can come forward just over the edge of the toes there. Great. And then press down into the blocks and go up. Yes. Lift up out of the low belly pelvis, up towards the heart. Raise your gaze if you like. And then as you exhale, bring the chin towards your throat. Place the blocks down medium. Raise your right knee and your right leg and glide the hips back. You can bow over the left leg. And then bend your left knee so your knee comes back over your heel, maybe in line with the toes. Take the two blocks and stack them. Right arm on the blocks. Take your left hand to your left knee, right hand to your left shin. And let's twist to the left. Notice the effort and the twist and what is happening with the mind. Excuse me. And when you next exhale, go ahead and release, and you can take the left knee back next to the right. And one more time, sit back to kneeling where your hips are going to be a little bit lower than your knees because we've elevated the knees on the blanket. Now, I know that some of you have really enjoyed the parvrtta janu sirsasana series. So we're going to do that again now. So you take two blankets, and I do want them folded longer like this because I'm trying to prevent when students sit up on a blanket to support their hips, but I don't want the knee of the straight leg to be hyperextended. So please fold two long blankets and stack them like this. And then take the left leg into sirsasana and the right leg out to janu sirsasana. It's so funny because I know there's a button on the Zoom where I could mirror my image. What you're seeing is photographs on this side. I know it's all kind of weird. Yeah, it's not mirroring my room. So this is my right leg. I am mirroring you. I'm going to call my left leg my right leg. And the left leg is in sirsasana. That means that your heel is lined up with the pubic bone, the knees out to the side. Take the two blocks, please. And we're going to twist to the left. We're using the blocks because the teacher doesn't have long arms, and sitting up on the blocks means that it's hard to reach the floor. Sitting up on the blankets means it's hard to reach the floor. So as you're twisting to your left, lengthen out through your left thigh and press your left shin down. Lengthen out through the right leg, pressing the top of the thigh down, the back of the thigh up to where the blanket supports the back of the knee. Then press the back of the heel down. Now take the right arm out against the right inner thigh. Let's use the back of the hand there. And as you keep twisting to your left, you can add a side bend to your right. And you may raise the left arm. Yeah, beautiful. And keep twisting to your left, even as you're side bending to your right. Apply some pressure of the right arm against your right leg for stability. And reach through the left arm, but without an attitude of grasping or clinging or striving. Then please inhale, raise your left arm. Take the two blocks. Come around to center. Pardon me. That makes a noise for you guys, I know. I just hit the microphone. Now we're going to go in this direction, which is neither left leg nor right leg, but kind of in between them. So stretch out while keeping both hips grounded on the blanket. So this pose is much more inward and downward. And then walk your hands and your blocks back. And now we're going to turn over the right leg. So in turning in this direction, you can, I call this bracketing or bookending the right leg. So as if you had a series of books and you're going to keep them on the shelf, you're bracketing or bookending the right ankle. To keep the legs and the pelvis and sacrum where they are, you really are now rotating the inner belly, the low belly, and then the lower thoracic, mid-thoracic spines. Now as you exhale, walk back up to sitting. We'll take the two blocks in front and fold your right foot in to sirsasana so that you have your pelvis and then the left heel and then the right heel. And just see how things are feeling, probably asymmetrical. And now to the other side. So when you take your left leg out, you may have longer legs than I do. So then you're going to slide on your blanket. So let's say that if I had long legs, which I don't, so this puts the blanket at the back of my calf. So you're going to be placing yourself so that you've got the blanket at the back of your knee. Therefore, it can't hyperextend down to the floor. Okay, angle your right leg out and take the two blocks. Twist to your right, please. And bring the back of the left hand to the inside of your left leg. That's going to promote the twist you have going to your right. And you can add a little side bend to your left. Notice the attitude with which you raise your right arm. Even the attitude with which you're breathing right now. And then let's rise up. We'll take the 2 blocks and we're going neither to the right thigh nor the left, but out on this little, right, the diagonal on the compass. Do your best to keep both hips grounded, please, on the blankets. And then walk yourself back, and we're going to rotate to the left. So this is definitely my more difficult twist. And I think it has a history in my body way back, even to the episode in the 2nd grade when I was doing gymnastics on the back patio. Somehow I did something and I dislocated my elbow and had to be casted for a time. My rotation in one direction to the other for my spine is different still, even with all the yoga that I've done. So when you're considering how your rotation is, it can be life events, it can be injuries, it can be postural habits. So with equal regard for each side, we proceed, twist towards your left leg. Notice the inner belly is a part of the twist. And then spinally speaking, it's your low thoracic, mid thoracic, upper thoracic spine. And we're going to walk this back to center. Place the 2 blocks in the center. Please bring your left leg around to sirsasana. So your heels are lined up, right heel inside, left heel outside. Let's take one blanket for Savasana, to lie on one blanket. We're going to be using for Pratyahara. You'll need 1 block. You don't need the 2nd block. You could additionally put your roller or a bolster under your knees if you'd like. So when you lie backwards, you've got one blanket here. Then take a block on the flat setting to go under the head. So what you do here is it goes under your blanket, under your head, and then take the other blanket. This is called Pratyahara, where you cover the eyes and the ears, but not the sinus openings, not the nostrils. Tuck the shoulder blades under. So your gaze is going to be inward and downward as a result of this position. We want the shoulders to roll open on either side of the center line blanket. Allow the mind to become really inward, moving to that which is intrinsic in you. In other words, the indwelling sattvic nature. As your gaze and your mind go inward and downward, go to that which is most intrinsic, this indwelling sattva. Welcome everything to get quiet. From the backs of the hands and knuckles, the backs of your forearms and elbows. Become deeply quiet and heavy with relaxation. And keep your attention inward and downward. Allow the hips, legs, the backs of your heels to also be deeply quiet and heavy with relaxation. Now, as the limbs of the body get heavier and more deeply relaxed, let this be for the entirety of the body and the mind. Now we allow the mind and the body to get heavy and the senses have been inward. You're going to reach up and gently, and with some preparation from your mind, slide the blanket backwards so your eyes can stay closed, but your ears and your eyelids will become aware again of sensation, light, and sound. Reach up and slide the block out from under your head. Notice when you lay your head back, there's a recalibration that's going to happen there too. And then please make your transition for meditation. So you're going to roll to your side and take the seat that's going to be yours for meditation this morning. You come up to your seat, try to find the tripod that you started with and see if it in fact does feel more grounded, more stable. The mind to be quiet as much as possible. The meditation is considered the gem of your practice. Let's bring the hands to the heart, please. Thank you all very much for being here this morning. Namaste. I'm going to come up to say hi to you closer. You want to say hi? You can also say hi. Hi. I'll switch the camera so you can see me better. Okay, and how are you feeling? hope you were able to meditate even though the cat was not.